That's quite the problem, Danny, but it does seem as if the engines are getting warmed up and we are about to see a new champion in the SAM region, something that has been long awaited as of what we saw in that Winter Open. We saw the capabilities of these new and upcoming teams, and we get to see Exeed take to a finals once again.
Certainly so, and we didn't even talk about the individual players because they'll do that on the pitch. Last time around, Davitrox, I think my memory serves me correct, 9 save in one match, and it wasn't enough, of course, to win the final. It was the semis where it got that ridiculous amount as well. Grand finals brings the best and yet the worst in players because nerves will certainly play a dividend factor in. Well, look at that ball just teetering along here. It's pushed upfield to Crew, his own half here, and knock, knock, knock. And we talk about breaking down. And it's not what good to see here. And we know you've also done a video. How's that for a plug, Psycho? Well, talked about the third man rotation. That was played well there.
Absolutely so. And it gave me something to be proud of there as Exeed just, as you say, trying to breach down the door, not just knock on it as they already have done so early in this series so far, but Crew are going to find the opening goal. Brad, the player to slot it home.
And that was a rotation all the way back down. You just saw the lack of boost there on Zero. Should have rotated inwards to net. Crew gets that opening goal. Exeed with the pressure, with the fact that they probably sense that this one's for the taking for themselves, but we've had high-scoring goals all night long, and it'll be a tied-up game already.
What a sublime finish that is between the two of them. Klaus and KNS, we've seen the connections that Exeed are capable of in that previous series, but it was a low-scoring affair altogether, and already 2 goals in the span of about a minute so far in this game 1.
It's been fabulous so far, and Klaus getting the clearance as well too. And that was, I think our good friend Mr. Atom, we won't say what profession he will be later on tonight here because he's fixing a lot of problems, and Crew will sense they might have an issue there with the line of communication. Davitrox on the back line and Klaus sitting. Davitrox once more moves across here, so it'll be an interesting dynamic. What will Davitrox do? Push up or sit back? But already 2 minutes gone.
2 minutes gone, and possession being found for Davitrox, that player you just referenced, as he's got a lot of space in field to work with, and actually a wide open path to net too. And Crew were just missing in action here as Drafinio tried to find the ball across, and easy pickings for him.
Well, 3 minutes, and just like that there, 1 goal, spirals to the second one, and Crew now trailing. You just thought they might want to get moved Ross, and the fan vote teetering around 60%. They'll feel a lot more happier knowing the response, and now the lead has found their way here. But Davitrox no boost, and he has to get away through it. He does so. Drafinio drops back, drops on the other side, and a quick bang downfield. Simple as it wants, and as it is, it's back to the other side.
Nothing like a good hoof to see some possession your direction. As Drafinio has a lot of space to work with and tries to find that teammate infield who's lofted it over to the backboard. But Davitrox, we know how important of a player he is when it comes to his defensive qualities. We've seen miracles from that particular player, and it's not an easy task getting around him.
No, it hasn't been yet, but Exeed and Crew moving around here. Nice old block into the middle. 2 minutes here, and Drafinio up into the backboard here, and that may be a shot here. Brady's got options, and unfortunately it's run away. It's not necessarily a problem, but it needs to go in. That one's teetering to the side.
And Drafinio on the counter immediately with no options already. Exeed are swarming those midfield areas and are able to forge that counter attack into the corner. KNS blocks away by drops. Klaus knocks this ball high. Drafinio with a free clearance as well, but playing right back into Exeed's hands.
There's Brad back into that middle spot here, and it's cut out into the middle. Davitrox runs back here, and it's been almost evident how this one is going to be played out here. Both sides here using their best attributes so far here in game one. There is no tricks, there is no disguises. That shot on target rattles the post. You can hear the oohs, you can hear the ahs, but there's only 60 seconds.
Oh, that was close. So meeting its mark from the shooter there, but there wasn't even a keeper required to see that one wide. The shot was just simply too difficult, but Crew still banging on that door as a clearance is found forward from Klaus. And Exeed have done so well at just dominating the possession game so far. Their positioning leaving nothing to be desired.
Davitrox thinks about it, certainly goes for it, and that opens it up. Should be a pass if he's playing wise, but fancies a shot. You can't blame him when he's in that type of mood here, Psycho, because why not? You've got the lead, you've got them on the back foot. Have you got the accuracy? Have you got what it takes? Psycho, what's going on?
I think Brad has what it takes, as he's just let this ball simmer and drops. A cannon from a mile away has been fired directly into that third man on Exeed. Just a wide open net left for the follow-up there, and Crew just in the blink of an eye. You referenced the fact that we have no idea what's going on, and I think that's going to be a theme that continues in this series.
Good save. What themes? Well, the word Shogun was mentioned on this stream, and it was Jara Jam talking about 1-goal games, and it might be continuing. And how about that? Crew has nicked it when time decided to leave, but Drops is the master of time itself.
And a massive mistake, it has to be said as well, from Exeed, who had an almost flawless game bar two tiny little issues in the last 30 seconds of play. That has to be a little bit of heartbreak for Exeed. We know what they are capable of, and we've already found that sort of rhythm which they gave us in the previous series as well. But Crew, like you said, just nipped it away at the very last second there. Pretty unfair, that.
Very much, and you just sense that in some of these games will go teetering back and forth, and you're just wondering when that next opportunity will occur, Psycho. But this series has provided a few moments, and that's probably Brad's demo, or the goal through the demo was probably the decision that allowed both sides to understand each other. It was very much a close match. This is the grand final. This is a best of 7. That is only the appetizer of the game, Psycho. It can only go one direction, and that's up.
Absolutely, and that was almost a perfect representation of what these teams do when they're comfortable, when they're just going about their typical Sunday drive. It was almost like watching a scrim session in that first game in the best way possible, really, because I think both teams delivered a very confident and professional performance. But in terms of the capabilities that we know Crew and Exeed are capable of, we know there is something still left to be found.
How about a second game to be found? Exeed trails this series. The Crew will be feeling like they got away with one, and Psycho, in those situations there, you can only just dust yourself down here. But 5 minutes freshly put on, ticking already down, and a kickoff might want in the B. Who is on the doorstep? Who is the one to give Exeed the kick up the proverbial backside?
And it slipped on through for Davitrox, the player in question. When it comes to all the defensive efforts, it turns out he's also quite good the other direction as well. A lovely little pass that was infield to give Exeed yet another early advantage.
It's fabulous stuff so far. And Drops already having another goal. Davitrox sits deep, sits back, and it's not necessarily an ideal play, but when it goes to your teammate, it's not too bad.
Not at all. And KNS just settling this ball in his own back corner as that ball's high. Brad drops this down, boosting the tank to try and follow this forwards. He's gone for the bump as well. A little bit of added disruption to the recipe which Crew have cooked up so far, but no end product there.
Drops are a product this way, and it's a pass infield that hasn't worked out here. Brad on his own. There's a bump, there's a demo. It's very good. Our league talked about the fact that the Super Bowl is down. Well, that's just not just a touchdown, that's a technical foul.
Absolutely, and that's just a red card offence that was on the third man of Crew, as he just had to sit there and just wallow in pain, as he knew that really fitting blow was going to come through from Exeed, of which Crew just attempted seconds ago, but Brad immediately on that response. That is some gorgeous control off the kickoff, just beautiful stuff there.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Davatrox once more in that fine position, and it's these type of moments where you're half a pixel, half a second away, however you want to shape it, not getting the play. And Seko, that was the moment there.
It absolutely was, as Klaus is going to lift this one high, drops with a free booming clearance forwards, very reminiscent of what we saw in that first game. It's those long balls downfield to open up the spacing for your side, and just hope those sort of little mistakes will come to creep through. That's often not enough in a series like this, but we've seen some added flavour courtesy of those disruptive plays. An infield ball from Klaus and a bump as well, almost found its mark.
Oh, and Brad's save was excellent. Didn't know which way it was going to go, and that's a loss of possession. Drops. Davatrox's attempt of bump was unsuccessful, to put it in the nicest possible terms. If it was, however, we would be talking about a goal in these 3 moments here. Joe, what Exeed? It's not like they're playing bad at any stage here, but the fact that they're leading 2-1 here, they're not capitalising on every opportunity here. Is that a decision, or is that giving too much respect to Crew?
Maybe so, and you definitely know that Crew have it in them to bite back quickly. We've seen it time and time again as Brad on the counter-attack looks for a pass forwards. That was almost a connection from Drops as Brad wraps around. KNS with a save. Is this one going to be followed up by Exeed? The answer is a definitive no, as the defence is just picked apart by the seams. And yet again, an open chance for Drafinio.
The fact that Klaus got the opportunity to get on the ground, to get a touch, jump up. There was a chance. There was a line I was waiting to hear. He shot that right at the keeper. Well, he did, but the keeper was too slow to respond, and Drafinio straight down on the other end here. Not quick enough here to get past. Of course, Davatrox in the middle waiting for the pass via the teammate, and Brad. He's a nuisance, but a one that KRN really needs.
Definitely so. In the corner, Drops is just going to let this one go as Drafinio follows forwards. A nice clear from Exeed yet again to just open up the spacing on the field, as that is a 50.5, and Klaus has somehow made a save. It's not going to be good enough though, as Crew, they found that little pocket courtesy of that magical dunk that was from Brad delivered. Beautiful stuff right there from Crew.
Certainly so. Crew doing what they have to. We were talking about champions elect. These are what champions have to do. It's not about being pretty all the time, it's getting the results. Relic talked about it quite a lot in the pre-show as Davatrox up in the air. He's been arguably highlighted quite a lot over 2 sets of broadcasts, and Davatrox is flinging to the middle with that ball. Again, has to be something extra, has to be something more to it as Brad launches that one into the corner. Defensive clear on the technicality, back into middle, and that's downfield.
You mentioned how it might be Exeed which are just sort of disrespecting Crew in terms of not taking those opportunities, and it has led to that response we've seen. But Crew themselves as well getting a little bit sort of ambitious with their lunges forward to make that gap a little bit bigger, as so far they're clearly not comfortable with their lead at the moment.
So there's a tempo drops to get past here. Brad bump on the keeper.
Oh,
that might not have been the perfect of angles, but what we did see, however, Sego, was a 2-goal margining opening up.
and another bump play has been the recipe that was required for Crew to find that goal. And crucially for Crew, they now have more than a bit of breathing room, but perhaps a 2-game advantage as well. That is a massive sort of highlight to their performance so far. As Brad drops this down, it could well be 3 if Klaus has difficulties with this. He finds the ball into the corner. No, 100 boost as well, and it's going to add to the starvation and the suffering that Exeed into you.
And there's a small creeping thought in my head here, Sego. And if you didn't tune in, the YouTube board is up and ready, and it was the Exeed versus Secret final. And Exeed in that situation in the final just felt like they ran out of enough gas effectively to continue on. They played against Secret today. They showed the resilience to bounce back here. They're playing a different opposition, but here is the problem. The same outcome near enough here. And you know what? I fancy a timeout to be called after this.
You know what? I think that is the best decision at the moment for Exeed, but the question is, what do they pinpoint as being at fault for Exeed at the moment? I think they're certainly going to be aware of these demos, which have really come flying through from Crew to open up those little gaps, and it's unfortunate because that is a difficult thing to fix. Just having two defenders ever present at the back, that thwarts your attack a lot, and having that support could damage them in other ways too. It's a tricky task to overcome if you're Exeed.
Certainly so, and I don't have a crystal ball to the people at home, but what I do have, however, is confirmation on a timeout, and that is indeed from Exeed. And again, same position, same outcome, and the fact they're pulling the same card effectively of going, alright, we need a reset here. It's the right time to do it, it's also statistically the right thing to do. The problem is, you mentioned itself, how do you pinpoint the issue? Problem is, I don't know either. It's just a little bit, was once described as chaotic by Macfish earlier on the broadcast. I think we're following on the same lines. Is there too much chaos? And if so, how do you relieve that? Well, surely chaos is needed.
Chaos is needed, and certainly for Exeed, because Crew have crucially found that response in terms of that small adaptation to their playstyle, which has given them a bit more comfortability in that particular game. But Exeed, it's still been pretty back to basics for them so far. We keep seeing those lofted balls downfield, them trying to open up the spaces on the field, but little intermingling between the players themselves to create much in the way of an attack, and bar a few counters, they didn't really have much in that game.
Didn't have much, but what they do have is still time on their sides, and that is the series length. Exeed, they've been here, they did respond, they chipped away at one point against Team Secret in this situation before. If this goes 3-0, were we excited for all the wrong reasons? I hope not here, Sego, because Exeed, they deserve better, and they just need to show up in the final to give themselves respectability on the scoreboard now.
Definitely, and I also think Exeed so far have pushed the expectations of pretty much every supporter of them, and dropping 2 games in this series has been more games than they've dropped at all in the Winter Cup so far, as they take to the turf yet again. Is there still some twists left to come in this tale and legacy that Exeed maybe preserve after today?
Potentially. Crew is not worried about restoring history or forming somebody else's pathway. They want to make their own, and they've done it convincingly so far in 2 games. Dennis at the back here gets 1 touch, and the second will be at least somewhat loosely to the near side post. The keeper in the right position, and again, just wondered where these eventual plays will go, as it really is just hit the ball as hard as you can and see where it goes. I wonder where that one's been done before.
I wonder too, Danny, as KNS is going to take to the skies, almost beaten out by drops, as Drafinho applies that little bit of pressure, and he's actually good to beat a second man too. As on the counter, this has been where Exeed have thrived. That's an extra touch and a save from drops over to the right-hand side. If Exeed did score that goal, you would have thought maybe it's a reforge of a new team altogether. But Drafinho, there's more than meets the eye with this particular player. You think it's just simple goals he's scored so far, and then he pulls that out his back pocket.
Smiling wave. Sometimes that's all what you can do. And Crew is smiling at the trophy, waving Exeed goodbye off the pitch. That is how well they've been playing so far here. It's a difference of 1 singular touch. Seiko said it himself on the play, and that near was the moment there when Exeed had the chance of leading this particular game 3. They've got to defend a bit more here, and defend they shall with Damatrox's clearance upfield. No. Back in defensive quarters? Yes.
A booming clear downfield from that player once again. Followed up by Klaus, but immediately the pressure has been relinquished and Crew are finding themselves in the driver's seat yet again. As this ball's thrown to the side, a nice bounce up straight into the middle. Raz weaves another touch. Davitrox, he needs to try and find a teammate here as well. There's one downfield in Klaus just trying to lurk there and provide any assistance he can, but it's simply not going to be enough.
That's a nice idea, but Davitrox not getting the pinch. The iron grip, the complete shut out of one half of the pitch here, and that was done so beautifully that even Crew is sitting there in Windsor going, yes, I done that with a very smug face.
And not only did the goal explosion represent the marksman's performance that was that finish, but also that targeted missile on the last man yet again from Crew. They found that missing piece to the puzzle as Davitrox lunges this one over to the backboard. A nice touch forwards. Klaus is going to drop this one down, but it's not on target. And Crew Esports afforded yet another smug potential advantage in this game, which could have been thwarted courtesy of that shot.
Or ball upfield, and it's been taken away. This had all the promise of being a very tight affair, a very worthy grand final. And so far here, Exeed, you could just see them hitting the post, an off touch going to the side, hitting the drink effectively. And it's just not clicking for them, and it's going to eat away at their confidence here after the timeout they called as well. But Klaus, maybe to spark something here, not yet, might be their mantra so far.
A couple of milliseconds too late was the difference for Klaus there, and it's going to hurt. He saw that open pocket of space central and a shooting path rather, all the way to net, but simply wasn't enough for Exeed as they keep trying to work these passes forwards just to see themselves out of defence. Another double touch coming forward from Crew. The infield balls just keep on getting swung forward, and it's just a battle of attrition at the moment for Exeed.
The idea of the pass, you just see it, but unfortunately such a soft, gentle touch that Exeed tried to deliver. Needed a bit of put on, a bit of power here. Blocks that one middle. And it's just been almost a case of who's faster, and so far Exeed has not been fast enough, but they are fast till he's put this one into the net though.
And it's beautifully done from KNS and also from the supportive ranks in Klaus downfield. I think he was taking a leaf out of the book of Crew Esports, of which he's very thoroughly read up on so far in this series, causing a bit of chaos on those back lines. Another save from KNS is going to be easy enough at that time of asking, but 1 minute left on the clock. That is all that Exeed possibly have to not only get back in this game, but the series. An infield ball blocked away, and a save has been thrown over to the left-hand side of the field as well. Crew Esports, it could be 3 as well, much to the pain of Exeed themselves.
You're in an absolute silent, stunned shot. What other word that you want to throw on to what has happened, what transcribed on our screens about 20 seconds ago? Disbelief to say. But Davitrox in his back lines here, trying one more big push downfield to grab the second goal to put us into the second OT that we've seen that has such huge importance on tonight's broadcast alone. And it's just been pushed away here at Exeed. Oh, Exeed, you have left yourself with one mighty task in a grand final. And Psycho, what a reverse sweep they have to perform.
And that is going to be a true test of their grit as a side. Exeed, so far in the Winter Cup, like we've said, it hasn't felt as if they've had any challenges so far, which is honestly a terrifying feat for that team in blue. But right now, Crew Esports, like we've said time and time again, they're finding that extra gear. They're finding that something to really push an advantage their direction, courtesy of those disruptive plays, just all of that coming through from them. And Exeed, one response is simply not good enough, Danny. They need more, but where do you pull that out from?
Well, you got to look at where the biggest issue is, and that's unfortunately the defense. You can sit here and say the offense hasn't been good enough. The defense hasn't been given them better options to get the ball away. You always see that passing play from X-Person and Davatrox, and that's just to get the ball away from the net. It has to be cleaner, it has to be a quicker transition. Everything else here, in terms of ability, has been fine. It's just not been champion-like. Crew, on the other hand, has delivered everything they had to, and if not more. It's a 3-0 series, and Seiko could be one game away from crowning a new champion.
Exactly that, Danny, as Crew look to make their victory laps on this beautiful map we have in front of ourselves. Hopefully it's going to be a beautiful end to the tale of Crew Esports in this Winter Cup. As Drafinio immediately a shot towards net and a demo as well. That has been the solution they've found so far, as Exeed just kicking and swinging, just flailing around as they do see this ball clear.
That's a nice block, and there's Klaus. There is Klaus. There is Exeed. If this is where the reverse sweep starts, what a time to start scoring. 1-0 in game 4. Exeed up.
Got to be ecstatic. That feeling of just being that player receiving that 50-50 forwards. It was just such a clear path and just a fresh sight for the Exeed side so far, and maybe what has been 2 games that they've been outclassed in so far, as drops into this corner. Booming clear forwards. KNS isn't going to stay upfield this time around. Just blitzed off his ball cam maybe for a second, and that's all it took.
Well, the potential thought it could have maybe been a demo run. Did see him hovering around that particular moment here, but a 1-0 lead by Exeed. That is one element of the question that they had to do, Seiko, to get themselves back into the series. And Crew, for the first time in a while to say the least, are trailing. They've got the response, and they've got to do it quickly too.
Long may it continue if you're an Exeed fan. But Crew Esports, they are on the continuing path of disruption and destruction, as Drafinio catches that one so delicately and just weaves that one straight central of the net.
And what was a best of 7 might be a race to 4 for Crew, and they're only playing 4 games tonight. They want the finishes there. They have responded in kind. Klaus to his teammate Davatrox. Not a clean pass, not a clean exit here, and that's what I alluded to in that 60 seconds of respite for Exeed. They've got to sit there, and unfortunately you just stew in that sort of moment there, and when you don't have answers, when you don't have that thought, it's an incredibly tough place to be, and that's unfortunately where they find themselves.
And almost on the counter there, a shot that's straight down the middle, but easily dealt with for Crew that time around. Drops now, takes to the skies, gets underneath one, and has actually managed to get up to the ball again with a double touch, a pre-jump across the half court from Brad. You can tell Crew Esports are certainly brimming with confidence right now.
Oh, certainly so. That's a decent block. Unfortunately, not quick enough for it. Davatrox will get the save here, and that's a loose ball by Crew. Is it white line fever potentially? Stefanio, second go here for Crew, and that's down the middle. It should just be launched upfield. An infield pass, it's beckoning, it's calling, it's crying out for a second goal, and Klaus launches it downfield but cannot get the recipient block afterwards. And Davatrox, game on, surely.
Surely so, but there's more to come from the attack. Brad's going to chip this one up, an extra shot. What a save that is from the unknown player who just whizzed past the screen there and just about put away that danger. Exeed still in with a chance.
Emergency service has been called surely at that point in time. Massive rescue operation by Exeed. They have done that element. Klaus, on the other hand, has to put one into the middle, and unfortunately Brad just whips that ball away and went, nah, not this time, not now, not never.
Almost a beautiful read from Klaus to make it 2 as well, and maybe a teammate behind had a better chance, but they wanted that goal done quickly. Has to negate any sort of counter-attacks there as Drafinio launches this forward no-touch found on the backboard, but on the counter is Klaus. He chips this one high. A nice touch to the corner from Crew, though, and back into action they go. Look at Brad through the skies, catches that reset, but nothing more to give there.
About 70-odd seconds. They've got to get something. They have to here, Exeed, if they want to live the dream, live in the moment. And Davatrox here, one touch into the middle, 50-odd boost just to get a block, not happening. An infield pass, slow touch, doesn't get past the defender here, but a shot surely, one save, thumped away as hard as he possibly could, and Crew looking to trick their own turn.
And just tap dancing down the field with ease as soon as that last-ditch effort was made by that defender. What a save it was from Crew as they tried to create another attack. And Drops isn't going to win this race. He backs on down. Klaus is lifting this one forwards. Exeed in control potentially with these last 30 seconds remaining. A shot coming forwards. It's above the bar and no follow-up that time, and blocked away it was by Brad. Downfield, not much boost to his name, and that's going to be that for them.
10 seconds of absolute panic for Exeed. They've got to keep a temper, they've got to keep it under control. This is under control, but Drops there, gets it away. There was a glimmer, there was hope within the eyes, but will it go or will it stay? OT, game 4 in the grand final.
And Davatrox up into the air quickly. Drafinio, an important beat there and an extra touch central. Nobody there in orange that time around, and it's safety that is the name of the game at the moment for Exeed as these seconds tick on by. One more mistake could spell their end in this grand finals as Brad into the corner tips it above one. He's maybe got a chance to get past this entire defence as well as he lets that one go for Drafinio and blocked away. It was by Exeed.
That's a good ball middle. Davatrox taking control. Have they sorted the rotation out well enough? There's Klaus and it's been taken over him, so it's a very peculiar situation. Davatrox got to be careful. Didn't feel pass and it could be over. Could have, but it's not here. Crew was rolling the factival dice here. Upfield ball, and that one has been scattered wide. If you look at your own right games and thought, I could have scored that one, well, you probably could have, but that's the pressure of a grand final does to people.
Nothing comes close to the pressure that is on Exeed right now, and you can only sort of just look and forgive a touch like that, which went wide. Klaus drops it down. That's another shot towards Davatrox, but crucially it is actually that player in the goal. He's been so important on the defensive end for Exeed, but they need more than that as Klaus lifts a massive flick forwards. Drafinio comfortably dealt with in his own back corner.
Well, that's two out of the rotation by the looks of it, so it's Davatrox versus the world of Crew, and it's a world of pain being delivered each passing second. The heart rate goes up, and the sweat will be dripping from them too here. They've got to keep this focus up as well, and that's a difficulty as well, Seiko, on its own. Concentration at its finest, and not even Crew can even help Exeed here. They've got to do it themselves here, and 2 minutes gone by in this OT. They've done well, Exeed, but they've got to do the crucial point, and that's scoring at the other end. More defensive work here, and they've got it past one, maybe two. Yes, they have, and it's on the other foot.
Maybe fueled by adrenaline purely is this Exeed side, as somehow they keep managing to weave the ball out of defence when the going gets tough. And all importantly, Exeed are still alive and kicking. Davatrox lets this one drop underneath him. Klaus takes to the wall, loads of boost in the tank. Opts to go all the way to the ceiling this time as the ball transitions across. No boost in the tank as Exeed just forced to fall back once again.
Davatrox, corner bounce. Will it sit nicely? Of course it will. It's Davatrox. He's going all the way downfield. There's Klaus. It will be drops into the middle here. Brad is up, but it's far from nice, and that's a kind bounce for Exeed on a technicality. Another block. A Crew is effectively thrown themselves onto the ball and just whispering to it, Please go in. Let it be over. I want a 4-0 sweep and make a point to the region, to the rest of the world. But Exeed, they're not rolling and taking it. They are standing. But that ball, once again, reaching Davatrox and once more pushed all the way down.
Recently, we've seen the longest OT registered in the SAM region. Not to curse this one early, but so far, Exeed pushing forward still. Drops on the attack, looking ever so menacing on that attack, but still Exeed blocked it away. That's a pivotal touch from Klaus Central as well. As filters through, does Davatrox straight into the corner. He's trying to work something quickly here. It's difficult for the defence, but booms straight forwards to a player downfield.
That's a nice ball upfield. Davatrox, that's down the middle. Brad will only have one option. That's the left-hand side of Exeed, and it's forcing into the grain of pressure. And Drop sits there, waits patiently. Brad's there, downfield. Everything is just something away, and that something just needs an extra pass, a touch, whatever it is. 5 minutes near enough approaching, and there Exeed still within this fight that they put themselves into. And Klaus, upfield it goes. Brad facing the wrong way and can only tip it to the corner.
And Exeed, if they do go on to take this game, you certainly know they're capable of a comeback as that bump rips its way through. What a save! That is from Davatrox. The hero that perhaps Exeed needed has done it once again as KNS lifts this ball high. And if they do take this game, remember in the last series they took 4 games on the trot without a single concession to their name, but the going is remaining tough as this game is still certainly going strong.
Davatrox downfield, there's Klaus, strong 50, and Davatrox rotating away. He has a net to gatekeep here. Crew from scoring and winning this championship, the grand final itself of the Winter Cup here. KNS into the middle. Klaus just tips it away. Davatrox, oh, he had a thought there. Turns it on from the wall. Blocks it still within the grain of pressure. A pass in field, not happening. Klaus, well, he's just seen his teammate moves across, so it's not quite a 1v1 yet, but it's awkward enough to count.
And that was almost the same devastating attack method that Crew used seconds ago. If it wasn't for Davatrox, that would have been it. That would have been game over. And Exeed still in good enough shape. Davatrox just becoming a human barricade in the corner there to disrupt Brad's attack to come forward. That's a bulldozing challenge as well from Klaus. Exeed looking to push forwards, looking to be positive with their play. They want this final goal.
There is a soft touch up to the wall and bounce. Fabulous demo. Drops is there, so they at least read the play, both sides matching each other so far here, and that's a strong 50, had to be for Exeed. This game is all about Exeed. The pressure, the spotlight's on to him, and Crew has responded with a demo of their own here. Pass one, self-team bump, and Crew has unfortunately spilt absolute disaster on the opposite end by the original demo, and Davatrox's calculation has blundered. A championship rescue. Crew wins it on the night, wins it 4-0.
What a game 4 that was, and it's gonna be heartbreak for Exeed. They gave it absolutely everything they had in that OT. We were seeing that return to form, but crucially, Crew are your new SAM champions for this Winter Cup. A new face taking over the SAM turf here in the region. What a performance it has been from these 2 finalists, but ultimately, on the day, one in superior form.
What a fabulous performance as well, and Joe what? The scoreline doesn't reflect what has happened, and that's the unfortunate bit about it, and it felt like Exeed got it together, but when you don't start at game 1, it's much of a difficult task to respond, get back into the game. But that OT showed a lot of character. The problem is, we've seen it twice now by this side. They've been consistent on knocking in a grand final. They just have to, however, do the most difficult thing, Seiko, and that's win a grand final.
Yeah. As you say, the most difficult of tasks it is, but just to give props to this side once again, looking back towards that full split, this Exeed roster didn't surpass a 9th to 11th finish in the Open, the Cup and the Invitational of the full split. And look at where they are now. It's absolutely incredible, the story that they've forged. And this crew roster as well, everyone knew that they were capable. Everybody knew of the individual capabilities of this roster, and I'm very thankful they've been able to string it together on a stage like this.
Certainly so, and while that has occurred, we might as well give a recap from the playoff stage itself, Seiko, because everything's spawned from the group stage, how everything happened as well. Crew at endpoint really starting from the quarter-final. 4-0, allowed them go on WSMM, 4-0, moved on, Exeed 4-0, Secret 4-3 against NIP there. Everything that's set up for today here made two very tasty semi-finals. The problem was the dessert at the end was a little bit too sugary as Crew just ran home with the rush.
They absolutely did. A massive congratulations to them for that run. It was definitely coming at some point. The individual nature of these players was sure to just align with success at some point, and you can see their run through the bracket as well. They made light work of it, and that's the terrifying thing. 4-0, 4-0, and 4-0. Well, rather 4-1 in the semi-finals it was. Crew, still, it's a very impressive performance. They barely dropped a game in this entire Winter Cup. Massive props to them.
Certainly, massive props to them, and a huge thank you to everybody who was part of the production, and as well to you at home and Silex. But what is a huge thank you is the admins who unfortunately has done the mathematics as well. 3-way tie in the SAM region. 2 spots if I remember correctly. The Invitational. Where, Psycho, does the Invitational get streamed?
Well, the Invitational is going to be streamed live here on The Rocket. It's going to be a beautiful time to be alive as we watch that action unfold towards the Invitational. But yet again, just a massive thanks from me as well, Danny, for having me on here today. It's been a blessing to watch these sort of new stars be born and a new champion of the SAM region as well. What a day it's been all around.
What a day. Huge thank you from all of us. Until next time, Mina, next week on Saturday. We'll see you then. It's a strong and hearty good night.